The shockwaves from the Minnesota Vikings trade yesterday for former first-round wide receiver Jalen Reagor of the Philadelphia Eagles, who was taken one spot ahead of Justin friggin' Jefferson, and all the Eagles saying, "Oh, thank goodness for Howie Roseman finally getting rid of her draft bust, blah, 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 blah." But I think the Vikings got themselves a big-time upside player, even though Amir Smith-Marset was put on waivers. That sort of sucks. They could have had both. They could have got Jalen Naylor or Oli Udoh through waivers, but I digress there. But Jalen Reagor is a guy that we loved in the 2020 draft process as the Vikings were looking to replace Stephon Diggs, and it just hasn't panned out in Philadelphia for a myriad of reasons. But the kid's not untalented. He was a superstar at TCU, had sort of a down 2019 season, his final year in Fort Worth because of a horrible quarterback play, but the consensus is he's more of an explosive athlete playing wide receiver as opposed to a true tactician and technician of the position, right? So he's still growing into the role of being a wide receiver, but he can be a weapon, and I do think that Minnesota can be the perfect spot for him because, yes, the whole baggage of being taken one spot ahead of Justin friggin' Jefferson, who's quickly becoming the best wide receiver of his generation, I mean, that's heavy. It is, and all the Spielman and Zimmer laugh and blah, blah, blah. And, the first 2 years of his time in Philly haven't been great. It's been highlighted by a couple of drops and really inconsistent play, as well as Philly fans just being Philly fans. And, of course, his comparisons against Jefferson, and then also last year they took a first-round wide receiver in Devontae Smith, and they're like, why aren't you good as Devontae, blah, 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 blah. But it's been tough. It has been. And Michael Kay, Eagles beat reporter, put this out. While he was clearly due for a change of scenery, Jalen Reagor clearly had the best camp of his career this summer. The Vikings are getting him in a better mental space than the Eagles did the past 2 years. And Chris Carter, who the Vikings famously picked up off of waivers for $100 after he got booted by the Eagles and Buddy Ryan. Even though Buddy Ryan was always in CC's corner, the whole all he does is catch touchdowns thing was seen as a cover of getting Chris Carter out of Philly. But Buddy Ryan stood up for CC. But then, of course, he became a Hall of Fame wide receiver with the Vikings, and CC even chimed in on the Jalen situation because, of course, he's been down that road of Philly to Minneapolis, and he said this: "Halo, bro, keep your head up. Big opportunity in the Minnesota." And he is right about the Minnesota. And looking at the Vikings depth chart, it is Jefferson, it is Thielen, it is KJ. That's 1, 2, 3 win play show. Anything that Jalen puts up is just gravy on top because the Vikings are set. They're good to go with 3 deep. And Reagor was a first-round pick for a reason. He was drafted ahead of Justin friggin' Jefferson for a reason. He still has a ton of potential. It just didn't happen in Philly, and the weight of expectations, the weight of him trying to be wide receiver 1, and also always being compared to JJ, it's tough, man. But the reasons why the Vikings are perfect for Jalen is that, number one, that Jefferson pressure is gone. They're teammates now, right? And the Vikings, I mean, they don't see him as a first-round draft bust like Eagles fans did because the Vikings picked him up for a 7th and a future conditional 4th, and that's it. That's it. Also, he can learn from Keenan McCardle because, I mean, don't sleep on the fact that Jefferson went boom in year 2, that KJ went boom in year 2 as well. And Keenan McCardle is a hell of a receiver coach, man. So he can really amp up the game of Jalen Reagor, hopefully, as well as he got a veteran like Adam Thielen, who's one of the best, cleanest route runners in the National Football League. And that's one of the things that Jalen really needs to work on is, again, he's a dynamic, amazing, explosive athlete playing wide receiver, but just because he doesn't always hit the steps on his route doesn't mean that he can't be effective, especially as a wide receiver 4. You know who's a poor route runner? Tyreek Hill. Pretty damn okay, right? Also, the punt return gig is his, even though I know Eagles fans are saying, boo, he's been a bad punt returner. He's explosive. He can get things done, and I do trust him more than ISM, who is extremely shaky, and there's a reason why he didn't return punts at Iowa City. And also, his offensive production, like we said, is going to be a bonus because guess what? You go 3 deep. JJ, Thielen, Osborne, as well as Irv Smith Jr. with his healthy thumb at tight end. Plus, Dalvin is going to be used reportedly as more of a receiver this year as well. So, I mean, he's receiving option 6 at best. In a perfect world. And also, I mean, Jalen, he's got that long speed. He could fill that role that ISM was supposed to fill this year before they waived him. Just a couple snaps a game. Get out there, take the top off the defense. You have no pressure. Guess what? You're not wide receiver 1. You're not going to get booed if you drop a pass, although you might. Let's be honest here. But overall, I do think that Jalen Reagor has a chance to really revamp and rebuild his career, because he's already taken on the bust label. I mean, that's a sunk cost. So now he can revive his career in Minnesota, akin to yes. Now I'm not saying that Jalen is going to become a Hall of Famer like CC, but but your thoughts on our thoughts. Why the Vikings are the perfect spot for Jalen Reagor to rehab his career and get back after it. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Once put the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.